Perfect. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, do you want to start by saying one or two sentences about yourself to begin with?
Yeah. I, my name is Jenny. I'm 45 this year, and I just decided this year was the year when I would just take a year out from work. I left in February and I wanted to concentrate on me because for the last few years with lockdown and everything, I was concentrating on extended family, my own family here at home. And I just said, this time I'm going to do it for me. I'm going to take the time out. I'm going to work on me for the first time in many, many years. And I was one day on my phone scrolling through what diet should I start, because I have done them all. I've done the Slim Fast, Juni Slim, Weight Watchers, the cabbage soup, the lipo trim, you name it, I have given it a go. And I just felt at rock bottom because I was like, right, if I do Slimming World again, I know I'm going to be okay for a few weeks and then I'm going to like just go mad and just give up. And I was really at the stage, I was kind of like, oh, what am I going to do? And I was looking for a nutritionist, and I just liked, I think, on Instagram your page, and about 2 days later there was a little message from Sinead and kind of going, how are you, and thanks for the like, and just we just got chatting, and I just got a really, really good feeling, and I was like, you know what, this is something I want to try. And you got on to me, and yeah, we had an emotional conversation first time and we went for it, and I have not looked back, I have to say.
And what kind of things had you tried before? Well, you mentioned a few of them there.
Oh, everything. I mean, like literally, I even and I hated every minute of it. Last year, tried intermittent fasting, whereas I'm always a breakfast girl. I love my breakfast, and then all of a sudden, I wasn't eating till 12 o'clock during the day, and I was like, oh my god, I'm trying to get in every meal I could be between my open. But you really have to stop and just think of what you're doing to yourself. I have done everything. I think I started actually back when I was a young teenager on Weight Watchers. That would have been my first one. Um, and like from there, I did even motivation. I did before I was getting married. All these things, supplements. I think the only thing I possibly haven't done is the Cambridge diet. I would say that's probably the only thing I've never done.
Okay.
But I have tried everything. The juice diets, the oh my god. There was a point last year I was thinking of doing the celery juice diet.
Okay, okay. And
Yeah.
had you ever worked with someone one to one before?
I suppose the only one that I did do one to one would have been the motivation clinic or the lipo trim, but that is just going into one consultant and them reading what you've done for the week and whatever, and then sending you on your way with your supplements and your bars that you have instead of food for the week.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would have been the only thing one to one I've ever done. Motivation, as I said, I did it before I got married, and I did for a while like it, but it was a 10-week program where they kind of delve into your thinking. But after the 10 week, if you didn't get to where you wanted to be, you went back to week one, so you're rehashing the same thing. Which I always found that. Now I did motivation twice, and I found it just, if this is what I was feeling in week one, I'm now at week 10 going into 11. I still haven't conquered my demons. What's the point of going back here for me to tell you the same thing, that what's wrong? So I did find that a bit disconcerting, but like I lost a bit of weight for the wedding, and sure, once we were on honeymoon, it all came back on nicely.
Okay. And what do you feel you were actually struggling with the most, like when it came
I
to losing weight?
like, as I said to you in our first conversation, I've always been the fat child at home. Now, nobody has ever used the word fat, but it would be like, oh, she's chubby, she's big bone, she's this, and like I always had that. I am the fat child. I'm the heaviest out. There was five of us at home, and my sister is 2 years older than me, who I've been very close to, and she was extremely thin growing up, like very very thin. So I'll compare to her. Yeah, I was the chubby one, but I wasn't fat, but in my head I was always the fat child, always like, oh, she loves her food and all this kind of thing. So I think it's just like certain things I had built up in my head. I mean, like, I know I turned around to my sister and we spoke about this afterwards, and she was like, but I never thought you were the fat one. I said, like, yeah, but I was like, when they like, not even the family, but like friends of the family were like, oh, she's chubby, that one's chubby, like she's grand cheeks to hold on to. Those things, obviously, it stayed with me, kind of going, oh yeah, I'm the fat one. So I think I've always felt like the bigger person in the group, of the friends or of the family and all that kind of thing. And it's actually just the way I was thinking of me, rather than what the people really thought, because I've said it to a few people and they're like, God, no, you've never been like the fat one or the chubby one in the group. You were just Jenny, good laugh. So yeah, so I think that was part of it. I've always had this thing that I've been like, I'm fat and there's nothing I can do about it, kind of thing. And I do it, like, on programs I'd lose weight for a while, but I'd always kind of hit a certain point where I was just kind of like, oh, I'm done now. I'm done. I'm not. I'm 10 weeks in and I'm not down 3 stone, so I'm finished, kind of thing. It's getting too hard now, so I'd give up and I'd repile everything I lost and more. Yeah.
So, what was it then that made you decide to work with us?
I think, like, speaking to you initially, I felt like I came off the phone. I rang my husband Greg, who's a great support, and I bawled down the phone to him. He was like, "Oh my God, what did she say to you? How did she upset you?" And I was like, I've told her things that I've never verbalized to anybody outside of my own head. And he was like, really? And even to Greg, I mean, like, we're so close, and I would never, because Greg thinks I'm perfect no matter what I look like or whatever, no matter what weight I am. So it was just to say those things, like, I've always felt fat. I fucking hate the holidays because I can't wear a bikini and I feel like a whale on the beach. And just to say these things out to a perfect stranger. And there was just a release. And I was kind of like, you know what? I just got such a good feeling from that conversation. And then when I got Rachel, and she was just, I have to say, just a star, just a star. She was a great bit of stuff. And there was like my first week on the program, and I texted her and I said, "Can I have this?" And she was like, "Jenny, you can have anything you want." And I think that was just the light bulb moment. Then kind of going, I can have it once I record it and account for it. You're allowed that. I can have the chocolate bar or the biscuits with the cup of tea once I put it into my fitness pal and account for what I'm having. I can have it. And when you can have something, you don't really want it then. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, I can have it, but sure, flip it. I'll get something else instead. So it was just, I think it's just not a rigid, it's not even a diet, it's a way of life. It's not rigid. It's like, just, yeah, if you want it, go for it. Just write it into your fitness pal. And I just thought that was just one of those moments where it's like, okay, this is real life.
Mm-hmm. So what have been your big wins then?
I think something major for me is, in a crisis, I would always turn to food. And during the year, while I was on the program, Greg's father passed away, and it was a hard 2 weeks, because he was in holiday or in hospital, and Greg was in hospital with him, staying with him. And that would be the time where I meet the kids, Dad's not coming home, come on, we get a takeaway, or we'll get something out of the freezer there, we'll throw on chips and goujons and whatever. And while Greg was away, I was like, yeah, this is the dinner now. I still did out my program. I still did my weekly dinners on a Sunday night, what I was having through the recipe books and stuff like that. I didn't let the situation beat me and kind of like go back to eating the way I was eating, because, as I said to Rachel, that's not going to bring Donald back. It's not going to stop Greg crying if I'm eating a bloody Mars bar or whatever. That's not going to help the situation, but it would make me allergic to myself. But by staying on track and doing what I was doing, I was stronger, because I wasn't like, oh God, guilty over eating what I in my head said I shouldn't eat. And I was able to be there and to be strong for Greg and his family and stuff. So that was a massive win for me. And then on holidays this year, for the first time in, I'd say, 12 years, I wore a bikini several days, which was a massive win. And even the first day I put it on in the apartment, and I was just walking around getting the sun cream ready and the water and stuff like that. And Danny, my daughter, she just turned around, she goes, oh, you're actually in the bikini. Walked off. It was such a massive thing. I was like, oh my God, the bikini dress is lovely on you, man. You know, it wasn't a huge deal. I was making it to be in my head. She was like, oh, you look lovely. Now she's 18, so 18-year-olds can be bitchy. But it was just a natural thing that she was like, you have a bikini on, it looks lovely, move on. And I think that reaction was great, because I had built myself up so much for this wearing of the bikini on holidays. So yeah, and I did it, and I think I wore bikini maybe 3 or 4 days. So I was delighted with myself, really, really was. Yeah, so that was another massive win for me.
So how did you feel while you were on holiday this year?
I felt good. I didn't buy much new clothes for holidays, and I should have, because everything was too big for me and falling down. So in the last few years, they've all been too tight on me and cutting into my waist and whatever. And this year now, I'm going around putting up my shorts and trying to get a belt for the dress and stuff like that. So yeah, I felt really good on holidays, and it was definitely, there was no anxiety about, oh my God, what am I going to wear tomorrow now? Oh God, if it's going to be really hot and I'm going to be sweaty and all that. That wasn't. It was like, yeah, I'll wear that dress or I'll wear those shorts and we'll be grand. It didn't take over me internally about this anxiousness I'd have of what will I wear that I don't look like a beached whale. So yeah, that was huge. That was huge.
And in general, how do you feel now? Like, how is life?
I have to say, I mean, like, as I said, I'm back from holidays. I'm back at it now this week. But I have, for the last few weeks, for the last few months, felt really, really good and energized and positive about stuff. And like, it's just, food isn't, it doesn't take over my life. You know, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I'm going out there, throw a protein bar into my bag. There we go. We're happy out. If I get hungry, I have that there. I can still have my skinny latte with the girls, and I just feel it's a really, really positive experience that has continued on since I finished the program, which is a massive thing, because normally when you finish things, it doesn't carry on for me, and this definitely has. It has become a way of life for me, and it's not even hard, which is really, really good.
Yeah, that was my next question actually. Like, how did you find the process from getting from A to B?
I enjoyed it. I love to cook and stuff like that. So the recipe books to me were like nirvana. It was just, oh my God, look at all this food. I love to cook. And I love when it's good food, and like the kids and Greg will kind of go, oh geez, that was lovely, Mom. I love that. And I think we've yet to have a bad meal on this. So yeah, I love that. And everything, it just does fit into your day. It does fit into your life. It's not, you're not counting anything. Yeah, you're recording into my fitness pal, but it actually becomes second nature after a while. And the day Rachel said to me, you don't have to record anymore, and I'm like, but why wouldn't I? Because it's so natural now. I scan the barcode and I put in whatever, and it's like weighing food as well. It's just a natural thing. It's not a chore to take out the weighing scales or anything like that. And you do get used to your quantities, and you know, like, oh, that's 20 grams of the porridge oats or whatever. You can tell after a while that it is that. And sometimes if I feel, oh, maybe I'm going a bit over there, I'll go back and I'll weigh it out that morning and be like, yeah, I was putting in a little bit too much there. Now I know I'll go back to the less bit. But it's just so much easier than having to do your sins or your points, your crap like that. It's because you can have what you want. You can
Mm-hmm.
have it. If you want it, you can have it. But if you're going to spend the week eating biscuits, don't expect to be in a fat loss. It's not going to happen. So, you do have to just mindfully watch what you're eating as well. And that does become a habit after a while. As I said, on holidays, like before, I'd be having all the ice creams or all the cakes. Now I'd be like, no, do you know what? I had one yesterday. I'm grand. I don't want it today. It's, it's a Magnum. It's not as if it's the gelato or anything like that. So it's like, yeah, I've had it yesterday and grand. I don't need it today. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
whereas before it would have been like, I will have 10 Magnums.
Okay, so obviously your habits have changed.
Yeah, massively, massively.
And do you feel like you would have been able to do this on your own, honestly?
Honestly, no. No. Honestly, I think it is something that now I can do on my own, but at the time, because of the place I was in, I had to be accountable to Rachel, is all I'll say. Now, the girl wouldn't say boo to a ghost, like, but I just felt, look, I'm going to talk to Rachel every Tuesday. I want to be like as honest I can be, and I want to do as well as I can do. And it was just her encouragement then that made me go, actually, I'm not being accountable to Rachel now. I'm being accountable to me. Whereas before, it would be kind of like, sure, look, we'll start again next Monday. This week didn't work out. We're Wednesday now, so we'll just hell for leather into it and start again next Monday. I was never accountable for what I did. But at the start, I was being accountable to Rachel, and I'd say not even halfway through the program, it was being accountable to myself. It was
Mm-hmm.
like me saying, yeah, you can have that, Jen, but you're going to be disappointed then when the inches aren't down, or like I was obsessed with the scales at the start. Um, and that, like, I was banned off scales for a while, for a week or two, to be honest, which I ended up dreaming about them and stuff. But like when Rachel explained those things and broke them down to me about, like, and that's, I think, what's the difference of doing it on your own and doing it with G, is that, like, she helped me break my old habits. She helped me break the habits that were holding me back. And I couldn't do that on my own. I couldn't turn around to myself and say, okay, get rid of the scales. You're not allowed on it for 2 weeks because you're obsessed with it. Like I told her, I can hear the scales calling me. I dreamt about it when I was banned off the scales. I dreamt about the scales one night. It was actually the day before. I was talking to her and she's like, yeah, it's a good job now that you got it out of your bathroom. Because I was that obsessed about it that I was dreaming about weighing myself on the scales. But to do it on my own, I couldn't have broken those habits. I wasn't even aware of those habits till I got speaking to Rachel. And
Mm-hmm.
that was like a huge thing for me.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So you had some habits there and different challenges along the way
Yeah,
where in previous times probably would have caused you to just kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
stay in that kind of vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And do you feel confident going forward then that this is sustainable?
Absolutely, I do. As I said, like I wasn't in fat loss for the last couple of weeks, but I'm back at it now this week. School is back, the routine is back, which is great. And I'm back at it, back at like cooking from scratch again, and recording my diet, my fitness pal. And yeah, I just do think, I know, like I said, I have about 1.5 stone that extra that I want to get rid of now, and I'm going to do that, and I will do it. I absolutely will, and I know I will, because it's an everyday life that we're doing. It's not like, it's just, it can be done because I have the tools now to do it. I know about mindful eating. I know about how I sabotage myself, like when I'm in a crisis and stuff like that. And I know how to deal with that now. Be it take a time out and go for a walk, which I love doing, or like just do a little bit of meditation and just, talk myself off the cliff, so that I'm not so hard on myself anymore. And I do think that will,
Hmm.
like in the long term, help me to achieve where I want to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
And then what would you say to anyone who's watching this and who's maybe thinking about, booking
I
in
just
that
say,
call?
just go for it. Just go for it, because it's you won't regret it. You won't. I mean, like, and even if you take away, like, not everybody reaches their goals by the end of the program and stuff, but even if you just take away some of the stuff from, like, Lucy and Rachel and yourself, and you just put it into everyday life, like mindful eating is such a massive thing. It's just a huge thing. um you break cycles and you break habits, and you become like a better you, that you want, that, well, for me, that I wanted to be, that, like, my weight had such an impact on the family that we didn't even realize it till I started this program and became happier in myself and happier, and everybody was happy. It does make, like, you have to work at it. You really have to work at it. For the 3 months you're doing the program, you work at it, and you have to do what is suggested for you to do to make it work for you. But you take it away and you put it into everyday life, and it is really worth doing it. Definitely. Yeah.
I think that's all the questions I have, unless there's anything else that you
No,
want to add
no.
or
I just,
anything.
I just, I just think it's a fab program, and it's just like, I do like that now. Calorie deficiency is such a huge thing on social media at the moment, and I mean, some people make such a big deal about it. But ye just come along and you saying, look, this is your calories you can have, this is how you record it, these are fantastic recipes, I have to say. And anybody, those recipe books, use them. They are brilliant, from like your light meals to your main meals. They are just like, you don't have to eat the same thing ever, because those recipes are just, they're so varied and so great. And I do think that was one major thing for me. um
Hmm.
I love a recipe. I love cooking. I love following instructions. You may get that from my whole routine thing with the kids gone back to school, Jack gone back to school. I love a routine. And I just, when I opened the recipe leaflet, I was like, oh my God, here we go. Love it. I just think they're fantastic. And I think people who are on the plan, they just should really, really, really go for those recipes, because they're just divine. And batch cook is the best thing. You'll never have to get a takeaway again if you batch cook.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah,
they are really, really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're
Um,
excellent. I love them.
and that's a good point that you mentioned there, about, calorie deficit. It's all over social media.
Oh, it's huge. Like, I've never heard, like, I heard about calorie deficit, didn't understand it till I spoke to ye, and now it's just everywhere. But some people just make it so hard, and it's kind of like, I think when you start this program, you start to explain it and how it works and how it, you go through it. As you said, one, you can be in fat loss, so you can be in maintenance. But you explain it so well that it's just kind of like, yeah, I actually know what I'm doing now. And I
Yeah.
think that's a huge thing. That's a
Hmm.
huge thing. Even with the hormones, like at the age I am, and like we went through like stuff that could help regulate hormones, and like even from fiber and stuff like that you need that for your hormones, to regulate your hormones and all that kind of stuff. It's just, I have to say, it's just great. It's a great program, just to explain the basics very, very well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Because a lot of people actually come to us and they've used my fitness pal, or they've been using my fitness pal, just doing the calorie thing, just that on its own,
Yeah.
but haven't been getting the results, for
Mm.
whatever
Yeah.
reason, probably due to maybe errors on my fitness pal, as there are many, and all of that. So, you know, for you, what do you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
For you, what was the things that you know versus say doing that on your own? Like, what were the things or the supports
Well,
that?
I suppose because I understood, like when it was explained to me about my fitness pal, like to be in the calorie deficit, like I know when I did my fitness pal on my own before this, Saturdays and Sundays were never recorded because they didn't class as days. They were like your weekend and you didn't record it. And it's like, as Rachel said, like she said, like you can still go out and have your dinner out. She said, but if you know you're going out on a Saturday night, then you can, if you want to stay in fat loss, you can cut back on your calories during the week. And say I was on 1,800 calories. She said you could like have 1,600 calories Monday to Friday, and then go out and have what you want on your Saturday and stuff. And as simple as it sounds, that never clicked with me before. I would
Mm-hmm.
never have thought that. Rather than cut back on what I was meant to have during the day, we just won't record Saturday and Sunday because they
Mm-hmm.
didn't happen. And then I'd be on scale Monday kind of going, how come I'm not down half a stone, you know? So it's just, as I said, like it's simple things that are explained properly to you on this program that the penny just drops with you. Like, and I know we only look at, for the first couple of weeks, we only looked at the protein content, which again, when it's explained to you about how important protein is to you, like it just makes sense. It really, really does. And I mean, like, I was obsessed with protein then, and I was like above and beyond what I was meant to have, but I never felt hungry. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing on this. I have never felt hungry ever. It's just like it's just like a little magic potion or something like that. It's just I ate my protein, and then when I did kind of struggle at times to hit my fiber intake, but that's like just needs to up my variety of fruit and veg and stuff like that. But when those things are explained, it just does make such sense, and you're kind of like, aha, that's where I was going wrong. So
Okay.
yes, I can save calories for the weekend if I want to, or I can just be in maintenance for the weekend if I want to. And when it's explained like that in simple layman terms, just all it makes you're like, okay, yeah, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm doing now. Yeah, I know where I've been going down. Let's not say wrong, but going down and things. But I know what I'm doing now. I know
Mm-hmm.
where I can tweak bits if I need to. So yeah, so that's
Gotcha. So you'd used MyFitnessPal before on your own as well,
yeah,
not gotten anywhere. So it was the getting the education, I suppose,
mm,
on the
yeah,
not only the calories but the protein, the hormones, all of that, and
yeah,
then changing the habits as well, and probably the
exactly.
one-to-one coaching that made that
Yeah,
kind of just clicked it all together for you.
yeah,
It sounds
yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like the first stage, when you're going on to the coaching session, and you're kind of like, it is like the kind of the slimming world. Oh God, am I going to get killed now because I should have lost whatever? And I mean, like, never, ever, ever. And it's kind of like you have to break that cycle within yourself. I mean, like anybody listening to that who has done the slimming club, and I suppose we all have really on this. You have that fear with your weigh-ins, but as you go along the program, it does. For me, it left me. I didn't have that fear. I look forward to my Tuesday mornings with Rachel. I didn't have that fear anymore, kind of going, oh my God, I'm going to get killed here now, and there's going to be the slimming world face, as I like to call it. How are you? What happened today? So yeah, I like that. You get rid of that, and you get rid of the fear, and then you're not fearful of enjoying your weekend or enjoying your Wednesday night with the girls or whatever it could be, because the program is there to support that. The program is there to support everyday life, because this is everyday life where people with families, where people out working, and this has to fit in around us rather us fitting in around that. And I think this program does that perfectly. It really, really does. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, well that's all the questions I have anyway. I think so we can end it there. So
Perfect.
thanks a million for, sharing all of that.
No, thank you. God Almighty, you loved it.
That was very, no, it's very helpful. Like you'll
Yeah.
definitely, I know I'll just have loads of people I'll chat to now and they'll say, well, I was listening to that girl talking and I could relate so much to her, even though they can,
Yeah,
no,
and
nobody ever,
that's it as well. Like I said that to you with the testimonials I looked at. I can relate. I could relate straight away from the first one. I was like, yeah, that's me. You know, it is like, and that's why I said, look, I have no problem doing this because
mm,
it can help people. And the testimonials did probably was the reason I was like at the end of it, kind of going, yeah, I'm going to do this, because it's just we're all in the same boat. You were in the same boat as us, and we all just,
yeah,
we all have to help each other paddle the canoe, kind of thing.
mm,
And it was just, and I know, like, I think people just have to give it a chance. There's a lot of skeptics out there, kind of going, oh, this kind of thing again, but this program
yeah.
actually works, and it does work around your life, which was a huge thing for me to work around my life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, because otherwise it wouldn't be sustainable, if it's not personalized.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, we'll keep in touch anyway.